It's going to be a good time.
Speaking of good times, tonight we're going to get into the draft portion of our broadcast. And thanks again for joining us, folks. Like, subscribe. This week we're going to go kind of through the top 10, and we're going to just make our own opinions on where we think they're going to fall. As far as good or bad, they're going to bust, boom, succeed, fail. So stand by as we probably hurt your feelings if your favorite player is in the top 10, because it's time to get real. Is there a bona fide Hall of Fame player in this top 10, in your opinion?
I mean, I'd be a fool to not say Mendoza.
Yeah.
Did you happen to pay attention to his pro day?
Yeah, I did. So let's before we get into that, we'll get to Mendoza available in a little bit. I wanted to kind of just go down a breakdown. I got these numbered from 1 to 10. I actually made it 1 to 11 because for whatever reason, me being an idiot, I forgot Carnell Tate initially. And I do think he's going to be, he's definitely considered one of the top 10 of the draft. But
of course,
I'm going to be interested to see how this top 10 folds out. I think that it's going to be completely different than essentially the mass thinks that this one's going to be. Because I think there's a couple in here that are failures, and I think there's a couple that are going to be like highlight players that people are taking measurements into too much.
Okay, I'm gonna put a stipulation on here. You can't say Caleb Downs.
Well, we're going to start with Caleb Downs.
Okay.
Not a physical freak, but still a great specimen as far as build for a safety. Excellent tackler, 91% tackle efficiency. NFL ready, extremely smart. Nick Saban calls him the smartest player to ever take the field. Plays the run and pass equally well. The problem is he's a safety, which isn't exactly a position typically drafted in the top 5, right? Top 10, quite a few names that have been there, but there's also been some guys like Derwin James, who I think dropped out of the top 10. Kyle Hamilton dropped out of the top 10. Do you think he's a top 10 pick in this draft? Where do you see boom or bust?
So
let's go with that answer.
And here's the tough part is because I think every pick after the Browns at 6, I think they're 7 through 10. I actually, and we'll get into this a little bit more, I actually think all 4 of those teams right there could take a super heavy defensive player like a safety or a cornerback in that instance. So for me, really, I think, he most certainly could be a top 10 pick. It would make sense because, again, he has the skill set, he has the IQ, he has everything that kind of fits into that. Positional value, I think in this instance, if you need it, like truly if you don't need it, if it's more of like a best player available, like we talked about, 100%. Without question, I think if he went to Washington at 7, I would have no issue with it. If he went 8 or 9 or even 10 to the Bengals, what is it? It's the Saints, Bengals, Chiefs, or Saints, Chiefs, Bengals.
So, you talking 8, 9, 10?
Yeah.
Saints, Chiefs, Bengals.
So I think either of those teams could take him. Yeah, because either of them need them because of the fact that Alontae Taylor from the Saints left. Trent McDuffie got traded and left. Who else did I just say? Washington always needs a secondary because they have an old defense.
Well, Washington needs a lot on the defensive side of the football, which is funny because
the Bengals also need some more defensive help as well.
I think if Caleb Downs was a corner and had it was at the same level of skill as he's considered for as a safety, he'd be a top 3 or 4 pick. Yeah, and frankly, if it wasn't for the NFL's recent obsession with defensive ends, pass rushers, and honestly, I would say almost wide receiver in this instance. I don't think there's a wide receiver that any other year would be considered a top 10 pick. But because there's some teams with needs, there, you got 2 guys in contention are being discussed as top 10.
Let's also be fair. Let's really also be fair here. Just because it's not a super like heavy front end blue chip talented class doesn't mean that any of these players are going to be bad either.
Well, no, I think, but here, we'll move on from Caleb Downs second, but to him in a minute. But yeah, I think he's probably one of the top 5 players in this draft. I think that there's a chance that he goes before even Cleveland at 4 to the Giants. Only because if you're looking at making a statement pick as a new head coach, what better than a Harbaugh-led defense by a top-notch safety? He's had him his whole career.
He is compared to Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, absolutely.
His NFL comp is Kyle Hamilton.
So I could see that being where he lands if he's not taken. I still think that there's a chance Browns go best player available, and at 6, I think he's the last best player available at that point before it kind of moshes down, but we'll see. Next on the list, I got Francis, what is it, Mauigoa? I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't think it's Goa. It's Oa, Mauigoa. Either way.
Francis Mauigoa.
Mauigoa. Mahler at right tackle, right guard. Played a little bit of both at Miami. great against the run, got some weakness against faster edge players as an outside tackle. I think that there's a lot of hype on him being a top 5 pick. I don't think he's going to be drafted inside the top 10, frankly, because that's a risky
top
move.
10?
No, I think it's too risky. I mean, you got a guy who really, honestly, he's the best guard in the draft, second best tackle in the draft. Drafting somebody that's in between both. Are you going to draft him if you're going to draft him in the top 10 to play guard? That is such a crazy move. And you're definitely not going to move him to left tackle. You could, I guess somebody like the Browns could draft him and put him at left tackle. I think it's a mistake, but he's played right side his entire time. His weakness is speed edge, which if you're going to put him at a left tackle, you're going to be extreme disadvantage. And his weakness is also in his flexibility and his ability to bend and rotate. Right. So, and he's got slow feet, which sometimes gets him beat. But at the same point in time, he's got amazing hands. He's got great reach. He's a mauler when it comes to the run game. He's very athletic. He can definitely get outside, pull, make a difference. I think he's going to be a great player. I don't think he's a blue chip top 10 pick that a team should take a risk on, but that's just my opinion.
Listen, if you need it, it's there, and he's there. Just take it. I mean, the upside, the potential's there.
Sure.
Potential's always going to be there with him. Like you said, there's a lot of good traits that he has. There's some traits that he still needs to work on. And right in the second, is he the best go for it tackle in this class? No. But if he can honestly turn out to be a decent right tackle and even still a good guard, I mean, who really cares where you were drafted at that point?
I know it's one of those things where I feel like tackle has become so valued because of the defensive ends in the NFL. It becomes just athletic specimens that we are reaching at a constant higher level all the time as far as tackle. And really, I mean, you talk about the Joe Thomases, the Walter Jones. There's very few of those, and there's a lot more Eric Fishers,
Andrew Whitworths,
guys that have high ceilings because they played tackle in college for a Bama or USC, and half their season was spent going against lesser competition. If you're Ohio State, you're playing against
Marshall.
You're going against defensive ends from smaller schools, and then in the playoffs is where it really comes down to it, right? You might face 2 or 3 opponents, or even the last couple of games of the season, where you get some real decent tape where you're going to see how he's going to go against high level competition.
Do me a favor. I have 2 questions for you. 1, can you pull up Miami's schedule from last year?
Yeah.
And 2, do you think that we should start treating offensive linemen like how we treat quarterbacks? Somebody should reach over from where they're supposed to be, just sit them on the bench and get them accustomed to the speed and the skill set that's needed to play at that high level position.
I think that we, I don't know. I'm not the NFL, right? But from here's what I do know. There's more offensive linemen in the NFL than any other position.
Well, yeah, there's
less than 20% of the starters are first round draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
And, we can talk further about, mock drafts and later on. But to me, in my opinion, now there's guys that are out there. Isaiah World, he's going to miss his first rookie season, basically, the tackle from Oregon. He tore his ACL in the Peach Bowl, I think it was. But there's guys like that. There's guys like Markel Bell, who plays left tackle. There's guys like, I'm drawing a blank right now, but tackle from Clemson, who's a 4-year starter, got like
Blake Miller.
52 games. No, not Blake Miller, the other side. He's a right tackle. But there's guys at the back half, middle rounds, 4th, 5th this draft. Falui Famoa, tackle out of
Purdue?
No, Wake Forest.
Oh.
So there's guys in the middle and back after this draft, and I think they're more likely to develop. I mean, you look at a Wyatt Teller; he wasn't a 1st, 2nd, 3rd round pick.
Virginia Tech boy. He was a 5th round pick out of Virginia Tech.
I mean, you can go down, and that's just one off the top of my head. But
Joe Petonio, I think, was
second round
rounder out of Nevada.
Yeah, so I mean, you can find these guys they develop, and offensive line is one of those positions where, in my opinion, you draft them in the 4th and 5th round. You should always be drafting 1 or 2 a year,
of course.
Picking up 1 or 2 a year through undrafted, and
you
then
just
trying to develop them because you don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And college competition at that position is so hard to judge.
I guess I guess really, if it comes down to it, you're drafting that offensive lineman in the 1st round because you need him to perform.
You're expecting him to start day 1. All right, so Miami played Fresno. Gosh dang it.
2026 Miami, 2025, 2026 Miami of Ohio, or Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, did you see I picked up Miami of Ohio? Let's see. They finished with Ohio State, obviously, Texas A&M, Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech, Syracuse, NC State, Indiana, Ole Miss in the playoffs, Stanford, Florida State, Louisville, Florida, South Florida, Notre Dame, BCU, Iowa. Is this all the same season? What am I missing here? What am I doing right now? Oh, you know what? It's funny because they all say bowls next to them, and it's like, oh yeah, because they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I confused myself. I was like, how they playing 6 bowl games or whatever it is? All right, so they lost to Indiana in the championship.
Yep.
They beat Ole Miss, who was ranked 6. They beat Ohio State, who was ranked 2. Texas A&M, who was ranked 7. So their playoff schedule was brutal as fuck.
It was every top 10 team.
Yeah. Then they finished with Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech, North Carolina State, Syracuse, Stanford, SMU,
Trash.
Louisville. They lost to Louisville. And Florida State was a close game, but they won. South Florida, who's unranked, crazy enough. BCU, Notre Dame, when they were ranked 11th, and they actually lost to Iowa. Oh no, that was last year.
We talk a lot about college football, and I want to ask you this: What is, in your opinion, the most overrated college football program in the country
right now? Currently,
right now, yes. Factoring in the history to what they are right now, who do you think is the most overrated program? What program is the most overrated?
Man, that's so tough. Like,
I have
because
two
I
right off the
don't
dome.
think that. Wait, are you saying are they overrated, or are you saying like they have a long history of being successful and they suck right now?
I guess essentially.
Well, because I mentioned
that's exactly what
I think Notre Dame's. I think Notre Dame's overrated.
100% agree.
I despise Notre Dame.
I think USC is overrated.
I think USC is underperforming, but they still have the best talent in college football. They're going to have multiple first, second, third rounders every year.
I'm not saying they don't have talent. I'm just saying everybody holds them to this higher standard of things, and they suck.
Well, because they always have a great offense that averages between 30 and 50 points a game, and then they have a defense run by Lane Kiffin the last 2 years who I could run through.
When was Lane Kiffin at USC?
What do you mean?
You said Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin was at Oklahoma, or was at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin just went to LSU, dude. Am I missing something?
No, Lincoln Riley.
Oh, Lincoln Riley.
I don't know.
I was so lost.
I don't know why I
associated
them together. God, that's terrible. Lincoln Riley. I apologize. Yeah, Lincoln Riley got there. He put together an awesome offense. Got Caleb Williams to follow him over, and then now
Mr. Payne is.
We're going to see what's going to happen next year, right? Jordan Mailata is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in next year's draft. Apparently, put him in the top 15. You're out of your mind. He played well enough to be a first round pick this year. He'll definitely be a top 10 pick.
I'll believe it when I see it.
He's going to be better than Jordan Sayin.
Julian Sayin?
Yeah, whatever. Ohio State quarterback.
I don't think so.
He's definitely better than him.
Well,
you watch him versus
extremely
Miami.
Debatable.
Speaking of, as we're going through these top 10, I told you earlier, if you want to see, because there's like 5 or 6 Buckeyes in Miami in this top 10, you watch that Ohio State versus Miami playoff game,
yes,
and it changes your opinion on every single player in the top 10.
That's fine. That's fair.
Speaking of Miami players, Reuben Bain is next on my list.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think Florida is another overrated program. University of Florida.
Well, you can't say they're an overrated program. You just say they're down on their luck. They were a multi-year championship team. They beat the brakes off of freaking the Buckeyes 2 years in a row by like 50-10 scores. You can't say that's an overrated program.
I think it's an overrated program.
You could say it's on the downside.
That was also 20 years ago.
You could say it's on the downside, but Miami was in the downskids 5 years ago too.
That's
until
true.
They
so was Indiana. Indiana was in the toilet.
Yeah. Well, Indiana hasn't been a football program for as long as I've been alive. Nobody considered Indiana a football program. I think that shows what the NIL does, right? Some teams are willing to pay. It's about paying the right players in that recruiting process. Like I said, I'm a big USC fan. They've got a ton of talent. I mean, we're going to talk about some of their guys tonight. Malachi Lemon, Jacoby Lane, Jordan Mailata we just talked about for next year. They've got talent on that team. They lost some talent last year. They're going to lose talent this year through the transfer portal. They're going to try to bring some guys in there. But they have first and second round draft picks all the time. They just can't put it together. And college football has become a lot more competitive because you have teams like Indiana right now winning championships. If I would have told you Indiana would have beat Ohio State, Miami, and won a college football championship 5 years ago, you would have laughed your
ass off.
That would have never thought
fucking
possible.
Dreaming.
Right. All right. But yeah, I can see where you can say Florida's overrated. Like I said, Notre Dame's
we're not saying that
overrated.
These
I'd say
don't
Florida
have talent,
but I mean, these are teams that are just falling off. Like, look at Florida State, unranked this year, but they were in it 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, with Jordan Travis.
Yeah. So I mean, who knows what next year's going to hold? Who's going to spend the money next year? I think Indiana just wrote. I mean, they've spent money again this year, so they might actually
watch out for Josh Hoover, TCU quarterback that transferred over to Indiana. He's gonna lead the charge. I don't think he's gonna be as obviously as good as Mendoza,
but I mean, LSU fell off the wagon.
Alabama's
probably going to fall off the wagon over the next couple of years without Saban. It's just not the same team. And with
they lost what 3 or 4 games this year.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess in the aspect of the college football world, losing 3 or 4 games is pretty much a losing season.
Yeah, of course. When you're a Bama, it is. When you go undefeated, almost every year
you're always going to from the pinnacle that is Alabama and the history.
But they might not see that pinnacle again.
No, they won't.
One, because Nick
Caleb
Saban
DeBoer stinks. By the way,
I mean, Nick Saban was just the ultimate recruiter, but he didn't have to deal with the NIL.
Yeah,
the NIL changes
glad
the
he's
game.
Gone. He's glad.
Yeah,
he's
of course
out of
he
it
is.
now.
He's sitting on ESPN talking about you could spend all the money you want, but it could fucking backfire. Look at Ohio State. Look at Texas.
It didn't really backfire.
They
won
win
a
a championship.
They won it
the year
year
before. Fair enough. But then you've got Texas. I think we decided between Arch Manning and some others spent more money than anybody last year, and they were not. Did they even make the college football play? They didn't even make the playoffs.
I don't remember. To be honest.
Exactly.
Because
they were
almost
irrelevant.
4 months ago.
Everybody's going to be watching them this year, though, because Arch is coming out. He's expected to be the number 1 overall pick because his last name's Manning. We'll
Definitely
see what
not. Definitely
you
don't see
like
him as the number 1. It's not that I don't like him. I just don't see him as the number 1 overall quarterback.
I don't think there's 3 people that could be a better over him.
Hey, you know what? We got plenty of time. We have
plenty
literal
of time.
another year.
Let's get back to the top 10. Reuben Bain.
I'm sorry. Yes,
Reuben Bain.
Short arms.
It's the only thing that people can say poorly about him. But if you watch the tape on him, he's probably the smartest defensive end, the most instinctive, and he is the one who recognizes his weakness the most and is able to make the biggest plays despite having the short arms by kind of knowing what's going to be run, being able to scheme out what are the plays going to be. He's great getting to the edge, to the outside, like setting the edge. He's going to be more dominant than David Bailey is going to be or anything of that nature. He's a bona fide pass rusher, run stopper, immediate day one starter. To me, I think he's going to be the number 2 pick in this draft.
Very well could be. I don't see a problem with him. I think he's got the physical traits. He's got the IQ that match up really well for a great player like himself. And I think he can have a good career. I'm saying because of his short arms, he's not going to be a good player? No.
Whenever somebody says short arms, do you picture like that cartoon with T-Rex where he's like, I got big head, little arms?
Yeah, that's exactly it. But I don't think he's going to be a bad player just because of, he can't control his arm length.
Right.
What he can't control is how hard he's working, how smart he's trying to become, so on and so forth, to become an above average player. Do I think if he had longer arms, would he be an elite player? Probably be the number 1 player off the board.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy how 2-inch arms? Now, I did watch a couple of videos where you can get in trouble when you got a left tackle that's got 35-inch arms. You can definitely get stuck, before you can put together your move. But that's where anticipation training. He's more of a bull rusher, so he's quick to be able to get in there and rip off of it. I'll be interested to see how he translates to the NFL. I think he's going to be one of those guys when he gets drafted. He is going to have a superior start to his season versus some of the other guys we're going to talk about in the top 10.
No, I 100% agree.
What you guys can control, though, is hitting the like, subscribe, and follow button. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, we would love to have you. We've only been going for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, but we're already jumping up there quite a bit. Thanks to you. The views are, I think, 40,000 views in just a week. So thanks so much for tuning in. We're talking about the top 10 players in this year's draft, where they actually rank, the good, the bad, where we think is going to happen to them. We just went through Caleb Downs, Francis Mayowa, and Reuben Bain. And the next one on the list is Arvell Reese.
He's a very complicated prospect for me personally.
I think that he is one of those guys where he's an off-ball linebacker. I mean, realistically, he puts his hand in the dirt like 3 times last year.
He's a stand-up. Like, he is setting up as a linebacker, and then all of a sudden he gets to the line and
he's either blitzing as a linebacker, dropping back into pass coverage, blitzing on the run.
He didn't impress me versus Miami.
Not at all. He disappeared against Miami
completely.
I think I saw one, because I was watching that game. I think I saw one play where he got into the backfield and put some pressure on the quarterback. But they ended up delivering the ball and making it complete the pass to Tony's. But yeah, I don't know. He's one of those guys where people are talking about him going number 2 to the Jets, and I don't think he's going to. I get it. Athletic specimen, super quick, a lot of explosiveness, great size. He's an off-ball linebacker. Like, if you look at that for a minute as an off-ball linebacker, how relevant is he to each and every play? He could be, but he's got a lot to develop. So if you're picking him in that top 5 and expecting him to put his hand in the dirt and rush the passer every play, like a Myles Garrett or a TJ Watt,
that's not who he is.
That's not who he is.
No.
He reminds me who he could be. This is a throwback. So if you're watching and you're old like me at 43 years old, do you know who Greg Lloyd is?
Nope.
How about Joey Porter?
I know his kid.
Yeah.
Joey Porter Jr., cornerback for the Steelers.
So Joey Porter and Greg Lloyd were like 3-4 linebackers for the Steelers in their heyday, and Greg Lloyd was a just dominant blitzer.
Is that the steel curtain defense?
Not that old. We're talking 90s.
Okay.
But he's going to be that guy that's going to line up in a 3-4, and he's going to either get off the rush or he's going to be a surprise blitzer. If he can do that for a team, and this is where, okay, it's not just being drafted in the top 10. Like, if you don't get drafted the right scheme and fit, and we're going to talk about another guy here in a little bit, you could turn out to be traded in 2 years for a 6th round draft pick, like Isaiah Simmons was 5 years ago, right? Or 4 years ago.
What a fall from grace he had.
But once again, athletic freak. He went to the Cardinals, who didn't know what to do with them. Yeah, Jake Budden, appreciate you commenting. He's got his comp as Isaiah Simmons. It's funny you say that, right? As we're just getting into that. I don't think he's got the size to be an edge. If he goes to a team, though, that can take its time, he could put on 20 pounds over the course of the next 2 years.
Or, you could transition him to safety.
No, he's never going to be a safety. He's too big for safety. I do think he's going to be that 3-4 linebacker. If you're in a 3-4, then you can put him as an edge rusher. He's going to have big defensive end, big nose tackle to hide behind, still get to the ball in blitzes. But he's great in pass coverage too. He's not a man-to-man guy, but he can definitely play the zone, make some plays. He's one of those guys. I think he's going to fall out of the top 5, and people are going to be like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" I gotta
really rewatch Harvell Reese tape.
Yeah,
I was spoiled by being an Ohio State fan, and some games I'm sorry, but sometimes I'm not watching Montana State versus Ohio State. Like, I'm just not turning it on and watching it. Okay, we already know the result of that game, but like, I don't know, maybe I need to rewatch the tape, really kind of reevaluate him, because he's a very tricky prospect for me. He's not getting all the buzz. Like, he's really not, like, you didn't hear anything about his interviews. His workouts were good, allegedly.
Well, that's what you heard.
I'm not hearing any rumor mills about him.
And that's, but once again, we're in a draft and this is an era we're in too, right? Like, we're not talking about the tape as much. We're talking about the athletic feats. Like, despite the fact that every player on the field, from offensive linemen to wide receivers, everybody's gotten faster, bigger, stronger.
Well, of course.
We still look at it every year as like, who's the fastest, biggest, strongest? That's who I want to draft, because that's exciting.
That's Sonny
me.
Styles.
Sonny Styles is like that this year. Was nowhere to be found. I didn't think he was a top 10 pick at all. Then he goes on there. We're going to get to Sonny Styles here in just a minute. Jake, appreciate the comments, brother. Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe. If you're ever interested in being on the show, email us, sports@guysnight.com. Love to have you on. Let's get into the next pick, because this is going to be one that is going to throw some people. Jeremiah Love.
He's a good running back. That's about as much as I can tell you.
6 foot, 200 plus pounds, 4.3 speed, catches the ball. He's a true 3-down back. Right.
Okay. He's your bell cow.
We talked about Genty last year being a top 10 pick.
Right.
Went to the Raiders. Didn't do a whole lot. Still hit 1,000 yards, which is kind of becoming I don't know, not that it's exciting. It's like a C+.
What did we say? We said this a couple of days ago. It's like 1,000 yards isn't impressive anymore.
No, it's not. It's 1,200.
It's like 60,
52 yards a game. I think
something like that.
It's ridiculous.
It's stupid. It's so sad that that's kind of the low bar for it. Now, like you said, with more games, 1,200. Yeah, I think 1,200 yards is pretty good.
So that being said, he still has a size speed combo that he could be a really great player.
Oh, he's going to be. He has the skills and the abilities to already be a top 15 running back.
He's going to show up to camp and be the starting running back for a team, right? The Browns they're talking about the Browns. Would they draft him if he was a 6? I mean, frankly, to me, you can't have too many weapons with a young quarterback, whether it's Shador or a rookie next year.
Don't.
If you told me that you were going to have a 2-headed monster like Jeremiah Love and Quinshawn Judkins, I would not be disappointed in that.
I'd be fucking pissed.
You have got to be kidding me. Why would you why would you be upset about having 2 players? Did you love it when we had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt?
Yeah.
Why would you not like it if we had Jeremiah Love and Quinshawn Judkins?
Do you not think I don't miss the chunt days? The chunt days were real in Cleveland,
yeah,
bro.
they were.
And
what do we always say? I wish we could put them both on the field at the same time.
No, I
imagine?
never said that.
Oh, I do all the time. Because we were dominant when we did that. That playoff year, that was the year we put them both in the backfield.
No, I just don't. Again, I think that's it's not a necessity this team needs. It seems it needs a lot of work.
I understand team needs. I think that's what the rest of the draft's for. I think that's what's undrafted.
I don't care about a top 6 running
your
back.
desire is to have a left tackle. There's not a left tackle in this draft at number 6 that's worthy.
That's
it's
fair.
Best player
That's
available,
fine.
Biggest impact that I can make on the team immediately, and the best way that I could set up my quarterback, whether it's Shador right now or it's a rookie quarterback next year. Putting a top 5 running back on the backfield next to him
nothing more
automatically
for him.
gives him. Yeah, it does.
No,
One,
it
it gives him a
doesn't.
threat, takes the people, puts more people in the box.
Oh, really? Look, how did Ashton Jeanty do this year with that dog ass fucking
He didn't have a quarterback.
Didn't have an offensive line,
But he didn't have a quarterback. They traded away half their talent. They had a tight end, right?
Yeah.
They were also trying to fucking lose really bad. And that team was a fucking mess. The Raiders are a mess. But I'm telling you right now, if you have Quinshawn Judkins and Jeremiah Love, you're a better football team than if you don't.
Hey, sure.
Whether he goes to the Browns or not, I'm just saying, if the Browns made that pick, I wouldn't hate it.
I wouldn't be in love with it. I'd be pissed.
I'd be excited to get a Jeremiah Love jersey.
I think hey, great.
I'd be excited to watch him on Sundays.
Would you buy a Jeremiah Love jersey?
Yeah, I just said that.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry, I didn't hear that part for a
you were
second.
blinded by the awesomeness.
I was pissed off. I was trying to censor this migraine that you give me with these fucking picks that me and you have.
All right. Well, hey, listen up, guys. We're through the top 5. We're gonna get into the back 5 now. But if you're watching it, please like, subscribe, comment. Who's your favorite player out of the top 10 this year? Who did you want to see the Browns to draft, or your favorite team if you're drafting inside the 10 because your team sucks like ours? Who do you want your team to draft? Who do you think is going to be the biggest bust or the biggest success? Comment below. Would love to talk to you. And if you're interested in being on the show, make sure you let us know. All right, number 6, David Bailey.
I just don't know anything about him, really. I actually gave more of my attention to Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech than I did David Bailey.
So it's funny. It's like one of those things where when you watch it, you can see. All right, let's say you take just 15 sacks. I think he had last year. You could watch 5 of them and be really impressed. Wow, he got off the ball quick. He beat his man to the outside really fast. Then you can watch the next 5 and you'd be like, he only got it because he was standing where the quarterback ran into, or the quarterback fell down.
He literally just touched
or
him.
the whole offensive line crumbled and he just happened to be the first one to get to the quarterback. So I kind of tried to watch some tape on him today, and I tried to listen. Who is it that just did their mock draft this
Mike
morning?
Runner
Was talking about him. No, used to be a scout for the Ravens 15 years ago. Peter Schrager.
Peter Schrager was a Ravens scout.
Yeah, I think so.
I love Peter.
He did it with somebody else.
Peter Schrager's great.
Yeah, they did a breakdown on him, and he talked about one of the things they did was they compared him to Reuben Bain. And they did a side by side, and they talked about all right, so Reuben Bain's got shorter arms, but watch what he does on this play. And then the same play happens later in the game. And then now look how he adapted to it.
Yeah.
And then they showed David Bailey, and they're like, his intelligence is lacking. Here's the play where he gets blotched in by the tight end. Here's 3 plays later. Here's later in the game. And every single time the same thing happened to him. And they basically took him out of the play.
Mm-hmm.
And their thoughts were he has got raw speed. He's got raw power. He's got a very limited pass rush. He's great on the edge and the speed. If he's playing on a defensive line that's got 2 other guys that can make some moves, and not saying I want the Browns to draft him, but if he was along opposite side of Myles Garrett with a Mason Graham in the middle, he's going to get to the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
If you put him on a team with a bad defensive line and say go pass rush, he's probably going to end up with 3 sacks, and you're not going to hear his name half the season. But we'll see what happens. I frankly, he's one of those guys. I think I said out of all the the defensive ends or the pass rushers, I think he'll be the biggest bust out of them.
Yeah.
I think he'll be the one that people will be disappointed in throughout the end of the year. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I didn't really give him too much attention a lot of the time. I really, mostly because I didn't think he was going to be there at 6. I've been paying attention to the players all from 6 and on.
Yeah,
I think he has a chance to be a top 5 pick.
Right. The Jets are rumored to be high on him. I think he just did a visit with the Jets either today or yesterday. The Cardinals, the Titans, any of these teams. It's funny when you look at these teams, they're all bad for a reason. They've got holes at the key positions, whether it be left tackle, whether it be defensive end pass rusher. They don't have a cornerback. They have a weak defense and old defense. It's no quarterback, no. Right. It's just weaknesses all over these teams. So of course you can justify any of them picking these guys.
It's going to be so hard to even it's still just hard even trying to mock where most of these guys are going to go, because I think there's going to be one of two things. There's going to be a shit ton of movement of just teams moving up and down, or the board is just going to be like,
I think every team would be happy moving down if they could pick up extra second and third round picks this year, because the second and third round to me is where the money's at this year. All right. Jake asked about this one. He talked about where we're at on Sonny Styles. I am completely hating. Yeah, you're right. Arizona and Miami are completely impossible to predict. Miami looks like they should be tanking for a quarterback, yet they signed Malik Willis. I don't even want to get started on that. I
actually really want to touch on this point.
All right, go ahead. On which point? On Miami and Arizona, or Miami specifically?
Yes. No, Arizona specifically.
Okay.
I think bold take here. And I'm going to spoil a pick for next week's show. I think Arizona trades with the Browns to move back into 24 to draft Ty Simpson.
Wait, from 33?
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually a great idea.
I think it makes sense. It's possible. They need a new start. Jacoby's still there on a deal. I think if he sat for a year behind Jacoby, again, veteran Super Bowl quarterback, veteran who won a Super Bowl, clearly made the team look halfway decent last year in the games that he competed with. He turned Michael Wilson into a top 10 wide receiver. I would love that for his career. It's low pressure. He doesn't have to come in and know a ton at first. He starts out with a clean slate. I think it could work out perfectly for him.
Yeah, that's actually a really great move. I could totally see that. And one of the things we were talking about it, like a New York Giants type trade, right? Mm-hmm. You get in just to get him inside the first round, get that extra year on his contract.
Exactly with what they just did with Jackson Dart.
The Browns might be too high, but I definitely, because they were talking about this today, really everybody's kind of looked at this guy and said, he's probably not going to go in the first round. He's probably going to go early second round. Cardinals are really the fit for him.
Or the Steelers.
The Steelers need to do something, right? But they drafted Will Howard last year and didn't do anything with him.
Are you really going to put your franchise on Will Howard's shoulders?
The Buckeyes put their national championship on his shoulders.
Okay, and don't compare college to the pros.
I'm not an Ohio State fan. Even I'm not a Will Howard fan, but you drafted the guy I think in the third or fourth round. You think you could give him a shot.
Fifth.
But yeah, you're right. They could be a shot. They could be a team too. I think Arizona fits. I do think that they're going to need the Jets could be a pick at 33. Right, so Arizona would need to jump the Jets.
I think the Jets. Again, I'm going to say
they're going for next year, right?
I think they're 100% getting prep for next year
too. But at the same point in time, if you believe that Ty Simpson could be a good quarterback, imagine the talent you could put him around with 16 this year, 2 this year, and 3 first rounds and 2 second rounds next year. You could really inundate him with some weapons.
Yeah,
imagine giving Ty Simpson, I don't know, Jeremiah Smith on the
Garrett Wilson and Jeremiah Smith with Breece Hall in the backfield.
Oh my gosh,
that'd be disgusting.
Yeah,
that defense wouldn't know what the fuck to do.
You see what I'm saying? It's just it's one of those things where that is a possibility. So it could go either way. But our buddy Jake here says, it's unpredictable what Arizona or Miami's going to really do. They're those two teams. If Miami didn't draft Malik Willis, I feel like we know what they would do. They'd be tanking as well. The fact that they signed him, though, it makes it really confusing, because why do you invest money into a third-year quarterback if you're not going to try to build around him?
Well, you could always trade him too. Everybody, he's not on this massive ass deal.
Yeah.
So if you're still unsure of your quarterback, you can trade Miami. Hey, we'll give you our first round pick this year from Malik Willis.
Yeah. All right, let's get on to Sonny Styles, the what would you call him? The unicorn of the combine, the talking, the man who made the most noise. I have the worst feeling about Sonny Styles. I've had it since day one. watching his tape, even his highlights, if you watch his highlights, they are the most average highlights out of any of the top 10 players.
His NFL comp to me is Bobby Wagner.
I don't think Bobby Wagner was a great run stopper, though.
Bobby Wagner was a fucking dog, even in his late
Sonny
30s.
Styles is an arm tackler. He is constantly out of position, nearly always taken out of the play by an offensive lineman if they make any kind of contact with him. Will try to avoid the pulling guard before he will try to run through him and make a stop. Does not have a pass rushing asset. He's so tall that when he goes to, unless it's an all-out blitz or a multi,
well, of
he's
course
getting
he doesn't have a pass rush move, dude. This is his first year playing linebacker. If
you watch the Miami game, it is brutally truth-telling.
That defense was terrible in that game, though.
There is a time. Who's Miami's running back?
Clinton Portis?
Not
that far back. I thought you were making like a throwback
this year.
Oh, dude, I have no idea.
There is a point. Sonny Styles makes one play where he actually charges the hole and he comes right up in between the guard and tackle, head on, boom, impact with the tailback, falls on his ass. The dude runs for 20 yards, and I was like, ugh. Then there's a play, the touchdown play to the outside, eyes in the backfield, reading the play fake. Misses his back, goes to the outside, touchdown. There's just a lot. And then even the highlight, you watch the highlight tape. Yeah, he gives up a lot. He is out of the play. My boy Jake over here has been watching it. There is a lot of times where when he misreads it, he just automatically like, ugh.
Did you give one of your buddies like a fake?
No, this guy's into this, bro. He's excited about the draft. Give him a freaking hands up. High five. He's a subscriber and a listener. I'm sure of it.
What's up?
People love talking draft. Jake, we'll have to have you on the show, my guy. But yeah, dude, he has all the red flags. Comp to me was Isaiah Simmons. I told you that a couple of weeks ago. Vernon Golston is what brings to my mind. I don't know if you remember Vernon Golston.
Wow, that's a name,
dude. Ohio State guy, got drafted by the Jets. Huge athletic freak. Like everybody blew up the combine. Wasn't even being talked about. Got drafted, I think, by the Jets, like number 5 overall. Never heard his name again, dude. Just never. I mean,
that's also why a third of these guys are going to be busts. A third of these guys are going to be average NFL stars, and a third of these guys in the first round are going to be elite.
Of course.
Like,
when you're drafting in the top 10,
you're going to get it wrong.
That's the thing that's interesting about this draft. Like, we're talking about the top 10, and we're just talking about them because they're athletes. When you actually look at the tape, none of these guys jump off the screen at you and been like, I'm a dog and can make the play, other than, frankly, the only person out of this top 10 that really, two of them that really like lights out, and that's because I watched them every game of the playoffs, and were Reuben Bain and Caleb Downs. Yeah. Like, they're the only two guys that jump off the screen. Caleb Downs doesn't make a tackle. He is there every single time. Reuben Bain is either disrupting the play or making the play.
Okay, so you have the number 1 and number 2 defensive players in the country.
And our boy over here likes Jeremiah Love. I think Jeremiah Love's another prospect that he's probably going to be a can't miss. He's going to go somewhere. He's going to dominate. That speed side comment.
He's going to dominate if he's got an offensive line.
So I did see some things recently where there's some questions about his vision and ability to read the hole. So I'll be interested to see if I find more on that. I was thinking about watching his Ohio State game to see how he kind of played against them. But yeah, we'll see where that lands up. All right, here's your boy Fernando Mendoza, projected number 1 overall pick. Only took 1 meeting with the Raiders.
How many more of these you got? Are you going through these top 10?
Yeah, we're at number 8. Are you going to cry me a river? What's wrong?
No, I'm just asking. I didn't know how many you had there.
I gave you the notes pre-show.
Oh, did you think I looked at them?
Wait, hold on. Evidently has autism. Must be high functioning. Not you. He's talking about Mendoza.
Oh, I thought he said me. I was like, what the fuck did I
do? Yeah. So, look.
Sorry, Jake.
Mendoza's strengths, what are they? He's got prototypical size.
Big,
he's like
physical,
6'5", 230, I think, 235.
Disgustingly awesome quarterback.
He played well at Cal, transfers to Indiana. They build a team around him, essentially, that's just made for his style.
He's a gunslinger.
Can throw the deep ball, made great throws. There was some points at the combine that people were trying to pick apart his mechanics, but ultimately they're just trying to look for something. I think he's a bona fide number 1.
Did you see his?
I'd be interested, though, if he was in next year's draft class. I mean, this year's draft class, just think if he wasn't in this draft class, we'd be talking about like a Kenny Pickett 2022 type draft class.
That was one of the worst quarterback drafts of all
but that's
time.
what you'd be talking about because you'd be, I mean, Ty Simpson would be a top 15 quarterback, maybe like top 15 pick, maybe if Mendoza wasn't in it. Somebody
I don't think there would be a first round quarterback taken.
There's always some idiot.
Yeah, well, i.e. the Steelers.
We just talked about the draft for the 49ers.
Can I tell you about
3 first round picks to get what's his name?
Ty Simpson.
Trey Lance.
Oh, Trey Lance. Yeah.
So obviously there's always an idiot when it comes to quarterbacks, but I think he's going to be. The only thing that sucks for him is he's going to the Raiders.
Can I tell you about his pro day?
Yeah.
See any stats on his pro day? So
no.
Nick Walters on Twitter said this: Fernando Mendoza at Indiana's pro day completed 53 of 56 with 2 drops, threw 56 passes in 20 minutes with 2 very short breaks, showed off arm strength with passes that traveled 50 to 60 yards, displayed pinpoint accuracy, and 10 Raiders staffers were there to watch.
Yeah, well, we know the Raiders are taking him.
Well, 100%.
Like I said, he's only taken 1 meeting. Be crazy if they didn't. You and I talked about before the show. I thought that if the Raiders trade of Max Crosby to the Ravens would have stayed put, went through, and they would have had 2 first round picks for him.
Yep.
I thought at that point they might tank and go for a quarterback next year and offer up that first round pick. I was actually a little worried about that because I don't want Mendoza for the Cleveland Browns.
No.
It'd be nice. I don't want to give to me, I don't know what it is about him. Doesn't set my world on fire. He could be an amazing quarterback. He could be a guy that averages 250, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception for the rest.
You know what his NFL comp is to me?
Who?
Jared Goff.
Oh, that's actually not a bad comp. Why do you say Jared Goff? Because of like expectations, or because
he's not too terribly athletic. Neither is Goff with his body. Neither is Goff with his body. But they both have decent sized arms. They both came from the West Coast schooling. Obviously, Mendoza transferred to Indiana. I think if they were to run similar offenses, you'd see similar results.
That's actually a good analogy. I could see a Jared Goff type player. I was thinking,
which isn't a bad thing either. Jared Goff's career actually took off once he left LA and went to Detroit.
Yeah.
Because he is a great player, smoking hot wife too, by the way.
Congratulations on all his success.
Yeah, really. And he's got the bag.
All right, let's get what is a Shador truther? You have to explain that to me, Jake. I mean, at least Jake is joining the show. He's got the comments. He's ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, he's ready. I think. Are we believer? Are you saying, Jake? Are you asking us if we're believers in Shador? I don't really care either way, to be honest with you.
I think the way I look at it is, he's house money.
Shador supporter.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm a supporter in the sense, like, I hope that he can lead the team to victory. I hope that he could be the quarterback of the future. I'd say I'm probably at like 30% yes, 70% no. Was he fun to watch? He's a lot more fun to watch than Dylan Gabriel.
Dylan Gabriel's my dad would fight you on here and tell you how good Dylan Gabriel is.
Get out of here.
Do you want my father on the show fighting you?
Show.
Okay.
But here's the thing. So with Shador, the way I look at it is he's a 5th round draft pick. You know, it's crazy when you talk about these mock drafts. We're talking about all these guys top 10. Why do we think they're top 10? Because all the analysts say that we are.
Yeah.
Well, a year ago, we would have been sitting here fighting about Shador. Is he worth taking at 2, or do you wait till the 2nd round?
Yeah, and then his interviews, whatever the hell he said.
Whatever happened, dropped him to the 5th round, right? So, but when you compare him to the other quarterbacks that we're talking about right now, he's statistically measured up just as well.
Yeah.
You know, with less talent again around him.
I don't want to get.
I don't want to go into it either.
Let's not.
I hope Shador does well. It would be great if he like had a bona fide awesome year and could start for the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns for the next 5 years, because it's house money. We paid a 5th round pick for him. We wouldn't have to pay him a contract. We wouldn't have to waste a number 1 overall pick or top 5 pick. We wouldn't have to trade a bunch of draft capital to get him. But ultimately, I think the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns in the future is going to be either Jordan Mailata or
Drew Mestamaker
or Arch Manning. I think it's going to be a Manning, just because I think that relationship.
Peyton and Eli will not let their nephew.
You're wrong, dude. The Haslams and the freaking Mannings are great friends. I think that's the setup here. That's the conspiracy theory. All right, getting to number 9. This is a guy who I think was like a bona fide. This guy was mocked to the Browns, was talked about top 5 pick. I don't even know if he's going to get drafted in the 1st round now. Jordan Tyson.
There are some concerns about him. Yes,
dude. It is amazing. So once again, watched a lot of his tape today. Does not impress me. at all. I honestly, comparison, Jerry Jeudy. Athlete.
That's a really good comp of him.
Athlete, quick feet, can make moves, doesn't have blow you away speed, doesn't have an outrageous vertical, doesn't have 220-pound frame and 6'4" body. And dude, the injuries are a freaking concern, right? So did you know he would play for Colorado in 2022? Yeah. Played for Colorado in 2022, had like a mild freshman season, 500 yards receiving, roughly 4 touchdowns. And then he transferred. Then he got hurt last 3 games, blew out his knee, tore his MCL, ACL, and something or other.
What, PCL probably?
Yeah, you're right. MCL, PCL, ACL. Missed obviously the last 3 games of that year, missed the entire next season, transferred to Arizona, had a crazy year where he had like 1,200 yards receiving. That's where, everybody heard the name. And then he missed the end of that year with a broken collarbone. And then this year missed like the last 4 games with a torn hamstring, missed the combine because of hamstring issues, and then missed his pro day.
Would you take him at 39?
I don't want to take him at all.
Okay.
I think he is one of those guys. Jake likes
Tyson's my wide receiver 1. I have Tate as my wide receiver 1.
Yeah, I would say if I was going to compare, I'd say it's Tate. And I'm not an Ohio State guy, even though we live in Ohio. I'm far from Ohio State guy. You're
a Mekhi Lemon fan.
I'm not even a Mekhi Lemon fan. Crazy to me, dude. I'm gonna tell you right now. If I was my favorite wide receiver from USC is Zachariah Branch before he transferred to Georgia. Last year, that's
not real. Guy. So your favorite wide receiver is Zachariah Branch from the University of Georgia.
That's what I just said, but he transferred from USC.
I know.
Right. So the year before, when Mekhi Lemon was on that,
a little bit.
Mekhi Lemon was on that, Jacoby Lane was on that roster, and Zachariah Branch was the number 1 receiver on that team. But anyway, back to Jordan Tyson. Those injuries just concern me, dude. If he's already got hamstring issues, that means it still hasn't healed correctly. That could be something tied to his knee. Perhaps something got damaged in his knee that makes it easier for him to tear that hamstring or pull that hamstring constantly.
And we never get to see the medicals.
Well, we're never going to see them, right? But teams are. So teams got to be looking at that. I wonder if he's going to fall out of the first round.
It wouldn't necessarily shock me.
I don't think it would. Like it literally every week, like the mock drafts change. Like it was like top 5, top 10, 15. Today I saw him get drafted at 20 or 22, and it's like there is a chance that he's just going to be one of those guys that just falls out of that first round because either he's currently injured or had too many injuries. And I think that to me, he's definitely not a top 10 pick. I'm not wasting a top 10 pick on him.
I'm right there with him.
Last one I've got 2 more in here. Mansour Delane. He kind of jumped into the top 10 talk after his pro day when he did, because he didn't run at the combine. And he ran.
He's been the best
cornerback all year
in the country. Now,
Gerard
McCoy
didn't play at all last year. The year before, I didn't even know who he was. So that just goes to show how much I watched Tennessee football, because Tennessee was actually pretty decent squad the year before.
Shout out to Chris Brazzell.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State wide receiver, right? Correcting myself there at Tennessee.
But yeah, I don't. He's one of those players. He honestly, he could be. You remember what was the draft pick? The draft where Sauce Gardner and Stingley came out in the same pick, and everybody thought Sauce was going to be the top pick, and then Stingley ended up taken by the Texans at like number 3 overall.
Yeah,
I think
I think it was the Will Anderson.
I think Mansour's going to go in the top 5.
That was no, it wasn't Stroud. It wasn't Stroud, and that was Stroud and Will Anderson, because it was a Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Anderson, Ika Makwanu, I think.
When you hear Will Anderson, for some reason, I think that he was like a 2nd round pick. Not because he was, but his name sounds like a 2nd round pick. Like Myles Garrett sounds like a 1st overall pick. Will Anderson Jr. sounds like he was taken like in the 3rd round out of like Nevada Tech.
Yeah.
And he just turned out to be a boss.
But to get on this Mansour Delane, there's nothing really to say about him. He's a lockdown corner. I personally, and this is super, super egregious of me and aggressive, his NFL comp to me, Patrick Surtain Jr.
Really? Surtain's got like 2 inches on him, though. And his reach is what the weakness that they give him.
I think Mansour Delane is a dog.
I think he's a dog, too.
I think he's going to be the best corner. He's going to be the best corner in this class by a mile.
So, once again, let me just show my age. I think he's more like Patrick Peterson.
I don't know if he's that physical.
He's a tackler, dude. He hits hard, bro. I'm telling you. But either way, we'll see what happens with him. I think he's going to be that surprise pick. I think one of the guys we talked about earlier, Sonny Styles, Reese, one of those guys is going to fall to the end of the top 10. And I think he's going to be like a surprise.
You know what? Fuck it. I think Mansour Delane. Yeah, the Mansour Delane could go 4.
Yeah, definitely. Could go to Cleveland at 6.
I wouldn't be mad at it.
You
need to get a little bit younger at the cornerback room.
I'd be trying to move Denzel.
You can never have too many corners.
No, but I'd be trying to move Denzel if we took him at.
That's fair. Get the money out. Get the money off the books. Get a little bit younger.
Books, try to get another, second round pick, something like that, or move up from the 3rd to the 1st, whatever. All right, last one, not least, is the one that everybody's talking about. The Browns just absolutely need to take because. Why not? We need a wide receiver. Carnell Tate, best receiver in the class, maybe 1, 2 with Tyson in some opinions, but now that's
he is probably the least flashiest Ohio State receiver to come out in a while.
Yes.
Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Then you also had
that's the one that went to Tampa Bay last year.
Oh, Emeka Ibuka.
Yeah.
Or the year before. Those guys right there. And Jeremiah Smith soon to be.
He's never been a number one
on his own team. Exactly.
Never been number one. I worry about what that looks like on a team. Now,
can he handle the pressure that comes with being that way?
I don't even know. Can he handle the pressure? I mean, can he handle getting open if coverage is rolled to him instead of Jeremiah Smith or Injigna?
How does Carnell Tate perform when a full defense is on top of him, knowing that he's the number one option? What does he fight? His fight or flight instincts kick in. Well, does he fight for the ball or does he fold?
He obviously, when you're picking a receiver that high, you hope that he has physical traits that are unmatched, like a Calvin Johnson, 6'4", 240, and freaking enormous hands. That dude, coming out of Georgia Tech, you just knew he was going to be a dog. Or is he going to be, you'd like to see like 4.3 speed, in a 6'1" body, or you'd like to see moves like Jamar Chase, right? Like feet and route running like Jamar Chase or Ocho Cinco, Chad Johnson back in the day. Like these guys all had these traits that just made them the best receiver where you knew you couldn't cover them, right? Like a receiver that you couldn't cover. So when you talk about a top 5, 6 pick, the receivers that have been taken top 6 overall, there's been a lot of flukes.